marijuanareport.com. You can see what they are if you're in the business and want to find out about things. One of them is a bulletin on common business operation questions. You click on that link there, and it'll show you, the issues that the licensees are having right now and how you can deal with them. Another one, they're looking for participants for the annual financial statement work group. That's where they review your finances every year when you get your license renewed. So that's kind of an important one. And if you want to get involved in that work group, that information, again, is at my website. Go ahead and check it out. And then just one quick shameless plug. I'll throw that out because it could involve some of the folks in the hemp community as well. We have our spring sponsorship special up, which includes lots of different things. That includes my show and the Marijuana Report, and my other publication is Michigan Technology News. We actually reach a pretty large audience. On Facebook, we reach about 40,000 folks. So if we're looking to work with support people more, a lot of them, rather than more the provisioning center. So lawyers, accountants, all the stuff that you need to run a business. We're starting to partner with a lot of those folks and provide them with access to our members, as it were, our readers, listeners, things like that. Check it out at Marijuana Report. And that's done. I'm done with my shameless plugs, and now I'll turn it over to Blaine.
Thanks, Mike. Hey, Mike, who you got coming up on the show?
Next week, we're going to have Ryan Basor from the Redemption Project. We're going to be looking at cannabis expungement. So there's a lot of people in the, shall we say, the legacy industry who can't participate in the current industry because they have busts on their record. And so there's a big movement afoot now in the state to get those expunged off the record so we can bring in more talent. And these people have already paid their dues. Why have to pay it twice, right? So that's what we're going to be digging into next week.
Great. Well, thanks, Mike. Sounds like a great show to be listening to.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Well, I got a little bit of farming news that we'll go over, a little bit of events that are coming up. But the first thing I have to do is I have a joke for everybody. You can all figure out the punchline, and we'll get the punchline. We'll see if everybody can get the punchline. So with all this stimulus money being out, all going on right now, everybody's getting all this money. So I had a farmer friend of mine that says, he said he was going to use this stimulus money for a really good idea. He says, I'm going to buy some baby chickens. And I'll give you the punchline a little later. You can
baby chickens? Okay.
So the climate change, sustainability now has a lot of great Thursday night movies that they put on, which is kind of cool. Tonight is going to be from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern time, and it's going to be Concrete Solutions to Climate Change, featuring Chris Nadelli of the Open Air Collective. And they're going to be talking about concrete and some of those things that go there. The next week will be one that we've talked about before. Haven't seen it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be Thursday, the 25th. It's going to be Kiss the Ground. That's the one that has Woody Harrelson doing the narrating by that. So
that's a great show.
Great ones that they've got going on there for sure. I watched one the other day about the dinosaurs and the electric batteries versus hydrogen debate going on. It was a very good one to watch and opened my eyes to a few things. Also, there'll be a free webinar for those that are interested in getting certified with the U.S. Hemp Authority seal of it. They've got their new version out, 3.0, after a lot of work, and then they had it just about ready to go, and then the new rules came out final, so they had to change a few things, but they've got it ready to go. So they're going to have that on Tuesday, March the 23rd, from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern time, and we'll get those up on the calendar on the iHemp page as well, so we'll be available to find them there. What else we got going on? Also on Tuesday the 23rd, just so you know, that's National Ag Day. So support your local farmer for sure on that one. And then Foster Todd Brown is going to be having a webinar. It is interesting. It's going to be right after our show, actually, here. Banking, credit card processing, and the financial transaction in the hemp industry. So that's at 1 o'clock on the Foster Todd Brown. We'll get that. I'll get that in the chat. We'll get that up there so everybody can see that. So I'm going to have to watch that, because also going on today and tomorrow, if anybody that's in the produce industry, National Farmers Union is hosting a free class on the food safety and SOPs, how to write your SOPs to get through the farm audits and the FSMA inspections. So that's a free class that we're offering for that, and we'll put that information up on there as well. So Dave, that's kind of what I got. But before we get into, I pass it back to you. Anybody want to take a shot at what the punchline is on this one? Dave, you already know, so you can't play. So, okay.
We're ready. I got a drum roll going.
Yeah, go. Here we go. Yep. He got his money for nothing and his chicks for free.
That's a groaner.
That's a groaner, but it was. I thought it was worth playing up there. So, all right, Dave. How about back to you, Dave?
Hey, speaking of Dave, now I don't want to step on Blaine's events, but you're going to be in Denver next week. We should probably mention that, right?
Yes. So reach out to me if you're going to be at NOCO. I'd love to connect up with you. I'm so looking forward to it. I'll be staying at the Renaissance, and I'm going to be bumming rides to the convention center on Friday. So if you have wheels, please let me know. You know, they want $900 for me to rent a vehicle for my trip out there. I'm going to be out there about 10 days, but it's like,
wow.
I don't think so.
You could buy a cheap car for that,
Yeah,
and Dave's going to be doing some, we're going to try to do some live broadcasts. So we're really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous that you're going out there, but
yeah.
Dave, we've got some new sponsors we might want to mention.
Funny you should say that, because I was just going to bring that up.
What a segue.
It's the two dogs, right? They're the sponsors, right? So,
are you guys seeing Film Organic on the screen right now?
No, I'm just seeing video links.
Two dogs, so.
Two dogs and a video link.
I am just jinxed that it switched my screen. So now, no.
Ah.
Are you seeing Film Organic?
Now we see it.
Mm-hmm. No.
Okay, good.
Is there sound with this?
So thank you to Film Organic for sponsoring the iHemp Hour. Film Organic makes a organic
mulch. They call it a mulch. Organic mulch.
Thank you, Blaine. Farmer Blaine. Yeah. So Film Organic, and then and they have a 2-minute video, so I'm not going to play that right now. We have a 30-second video from our friends at Mid-Michigan Hemp Supply, so I'll play that real quick.
We are Mid-Michigan Hemp Supply, located in Midland, Michigan, specializing in your trusted hemp genetics and services. Contact us now to lock in your preseason pricing and let us help you get your 2021 hemp plans underway. You can reach us at info@midmichiganhempsupply.com. Check out our website at midmichiganhempsupply.com, and don't forget to check out our social medias.
And speaking of Mid-Michigan Hemp Supply, mark your calendars for Earth Day, April 22nd. We have some news to share that's coming up soon. We're going to have an event. So
in-person event, believe it or not.
I know.
We're stepping it out.
In-person event. What's that?
And Roger's going to be our guest speaker on Thursday, April 1st, and talk about the Film Organics and their new, again, Mulch Life. You see it going there. What it is it's white on both sides with black in the middle. And you're able to just disc it in after the season and be able to start over again. If anybody's done plastic before, which I did 2 years ago, the cleanup of that is just as bad as putting it down in the first place. It's actually worse. So we're excited to have Roger on. He's going to tell us about their fine products that they've got. So.
Yeah, and the method you would use, you were telling me you had to take all that to the dump, right? All that plastic?
It all had to go to the dump. I actually had to pay a surcharge to take it to the dump even. Yeah, but the farmer did not want to leave it on his farm, and we couldn't do anything else with it. So.
And we certainly have too much plastics in the world, wouldn't you say?
I would say.
Absolutely.
So
now to do that, maybe we can get him to do it with hemp.
I'd like to bring up our third sponsor, which happens to be iHemp Manufacturing. Tony Solano and I formed iHemp Manufacturing. Tony approached me. He's out of LA. He needed boots on the ground here in Michigan. And we have, just a stone's throw away from me, we have a compounder that's compounding virgin polypropylene with hemp fiber. We also do ocean plastics. And we're coming up with a Frisbee. It's going to be we're building this thing organically. We're not taking investor or borrowing money. We're making this happen, but we have the entire supply chain set up. And believe it or not, our first large order is coming out of Colorado, the Colorado Outdoor Recreation Association. And we're going to donate a bunch to a big GoPro event. So we're really geeked up about this. We have a private label program where you could have your own hemp frisbees. And so we'd love to hear from anyone that would be interested in engaging in that. So
you are such an entrepreneur, Dave.
Well, this is my opportunity for my sustainability in the hemp industry, is the way I look at it. So I can sell frisbees. So
well, frisbees are going to lead to other things. So, but one of the big things we want to let everybody know is there's so many things that are happening behind the scenes, and knowing there are businesses that are coming here to Michigan because they know this is where they need to be. And we believe that we're going to have a good market for our farmers here in Michigan.
Yeah, there's massive processing and such coming. And so we're not going to have the big contracts for farmers to grow fiber this year, but it's coming fast. And this is what the farmers need. So the other thing the farmers need is banking and financing. It couldn't be more critical. And so Melissa is the Chief Executive Officer of Westtown Bank and Trust. She's been with the bank for over a decade. In addition to overseeing all aspects of the operation, she's responsible for helping the bank build a program uniquely tailored to the challenges of hemp-related businesses. And anyone in the business knows we have unique challenges. So Melissa and her team of commercial account service specialists are dedicated to designing cash management solutions for their hemp bank customers. And so we're so excited to speak with Melissa today and learn more about how she's making this happen and RiskScout. So Melissa, how are you today?
I'm fantastic. How are you guys? Glad to be here.
Yeah, so good to have you. So where do you want to start? I have so many questions. The Safe Banking Act, I was looking that up to ask you about that. It looks like that's kind of, nothing's happened since last September. Is that going to happen? That'll be a game changer for us, won't it?
It will definitely be a game changer. And if I had a crystal ball, I wouldn't probably be here, but I'm super enthusiastic because I think it's going to happen. I've talked to a whole lot of folks that are in the legislative arena that feel like this is going to be the year that it's going to pass. So that will open up a lot, although, the misnomer is still right now that you can bank hemp. So, there's still a lot of banks not doing it. We're doing it. But with the Safe Banking Act, I think it is going to open up a lot more. There's going to be more focus at that point on the overall cannabis space, with a little less focus on the hemp space. So that could be good or bad. It's going to be double-edged, of course. But I do think it will give the legs that the banks need to feel safe, that they can bank it and they won't have the added scrutiny that they feel like they're going to get now or not be able to manage it. So I'm hopeful on it, very hopeful.
Yeah, so that compliance cost is a big thing that causes the issues with, banking for the hemp business, right?
Right. Yeah,
so,
correct.
Tell us about RiskScout, because you've gotten creative. You kind of did an run and came up with a plan to help us.
Yep, for sure. So here's the hard part. We as a banking institution, have to go through a lot to figure out what arenas, what niches we're going to bank. And we're pretty good at finding those niche markets. But we certainly need to also understand that we may not classify the hemp industry as high risk, and a lot of other banks may not either, but the regulatory oversight still classifies it as high risk business. So it kind of falls in the same as money service businesses, private ATMs, or alcohol, tobacco. So because of that, we get an extra layer of scrutiny that we have to uphold. So there's due diligence, a little bit about know your customer. That's again another added layer, but nothing that we're afraid of. But a lot of banks aren't willing to go the extra mile. They don't want to write a specific program for this. They don't want to add staff if necessary. They don't want to add software or systems like we have done, but we found a unique market here, and we don't even like to call it high risk. We like to call it underserved markets. So, and that's what the hemp industry is to us and to RiskScout. So their focus is on what they quantify again as high risk businesses, with a specific notion toward hemp that we utilize them for. So we designed a program, worked very closely with them. So part of our process involves an onboarding that is very easy, very good to get through, but it also asks the questions that need to be asked of the hemp industry when we're looking to bank those folks specifically.
Okay. And you're doing both marijuana and hemp, is that true?
We are, that's not true. So we are 100% into the overall hemp space. We do have some relationships with some indirect marijuana, but our sort of hold is probably for the overall cannabis space is going to be with the passage of the Safe Banking Act. Okay. So the MORE Act would be great to have passed, but we all know that's going to have a lot of iterations before it makes it through. But I do feel like we can write and design a good program and be ready to go to market when that does happen for us.
Yeah, and of course the MORE Act would deschedule cannabis as a Schedule I drug along with heroin and cocaine, and they lump them in that category because they say there's, quote, no medical uses for it, which, as we all know, not true. But when you get the DEA sticking their nose under the tent, then you're going to have these issues. But hopefully with the Democrats in control right now, I mean, they're more pro-cannabis than the Republicans were, so let's see what happens.
100% agree. 100% agree.
So, Melissa, what's some basic things, like that you're looking for borrowers to come with you information on? What do they need to have together for you to be able to work through your process?
So again, we've got a program that's designed for the overall hemp industry, also recognizing there's different verticals within the industry. We know we've got farmers, growers, processors, CBD producers. We get it. There's a whole gambit of it. But again, with our program, we've designed a questionnaire that is part of the onboarding that's specific to whatever you're doing. You need to be prepared to provide us whatever documentation you have. So if you're obviously a farmer, grower, we need the license. We're going to ask for periodic testing, post-harvest, pre-harvest, whatever those look like. If you're e-commerce and you're selling CBD, we're going to want to see those COAs. We're going to want to see those FDA disclaimers. So all the things that the whatever we call regulations are for the industry, which we all know those aren't where they need to be, but all the things that are providing some sort of oversight, we're going to ask for those. Again, not to police the industry, that's not our jobs, but we need to know that you're policing yourselves. And my goal and our bank's goal, and a lot of banks that I talk to that are banking this, we're trying very hard, just like the hemp industry is, to set a standard. And everybody thinks we're all running from guidance and regulations. We're running to get guidance and regulations, just like the hemp industry. So, we've got very little out there that tells us what we should do and what we shouldn't do. But again, as long as we're banking the industry, we're going to start looking, and we're in multiple states. So that's, I want to make sure we know what that state might be prohibiting. Have they banned smokable hemp? Do they've got Prop 65? Is there something specific in that state that we need to know about, that we need to ask for? So just be very prepared when you're banking with a company that welcomes you, or a financial institution, that you're going to have all that ready. And again, these are all reputable businesses. We all know this. You already have it. You're already going to provide it because you've had to do this as part of your own business model.
Are you also able to assist with not only with loans, but are you able to assist banks or businesses with being able to do their retail commerce and do their regular everyday banking that they've got to do?
100%. So we've taken, again, an all-in approach. So our treasury management is all online because, again, we're in multiple states. We recognize that folks, especially COVID, can't come into a branch, and we offer mobile services. So anything that any other business can get, we want to make sure we're offering that to the hemp industry as well. So we also have kicked off a merchant processing company, which is very unique to the business because we saw, frankly, a gaping hole. We went out to go try to service and be a provider and a partner to the hemp community, only to find out they weren't able to get merchant processing, and we didn't really know why. So we started that exploratory work, got some good partnerships with some folks that had been also in this space. And so we became a bank sponsor and a direct acquirer. So again, it's given us the girth that we needed. So we're able to offer the full solution whenever you come to our bank. So merchant processing, lending under specific guidelines that we may have, and then again, the DDA, online services, just the full treasury management.
And your bank is going to be focused on online servicing of clients versus traditional bricks and mortar kind of thing, right?
That is correct, and that is literally the premises of who we are anyway. We've never been a big focus on brick and mortar, only because we don't need to get into all that, but that's a capital suck that we don't need to go against. So we've always been, because of our guaranteed government lending program, we've had a national presence, which allows us to do a lot without having to have a physical branch in every location that we are. So, and everybody asks us about cash. The hemp community, thankfully, because we're providing additional resources, there's not as much cash in that industry as it used to be. And overall, because we're providing services that says, stop doing that, you don't have to do that anymore, we're going to offer you an alternative. Because make no mistake about it, it's the bank's responsibilities and our regulatory oversight to help figure out a solve for this. And we all know in hemp, and unfortunately, certainly in marijuana, we got a cash problem that we need to figure out a solution for. And we can all name the reasons why. It's unsafe. It's taking it out of the banking environment. That's not the goal of anybody. So we again provide those solutions, at least now, for the hemp banking community, so that we again, treat you like you do any other business that wants to do online banking.
Well, just being able to have that access to be able to do online credit card sales and all that stuff takes that whole problem away from that whole thing. I mean, yep. Cash always, even cash with employees is always an issue. I mean, it's just one of those tempting things that are out there. So yep, yeah, you can eliminate that problem. Yeah. Yeah. So now, how about your fees? Are because of the association with the business, are your percentage rates and fees any different, or what are they? Can you tell us that?
So, again, this is what I make sure we try to educate everybody, because I said earlier, this is deemed by our regulatory oversight as a higher risk business. And because of that, I have to engage companies like RiskScout. I have to have additional staff that is focused on this market. And there is a cost to doing this kind of business, but we have been very careful to make sure we're going out there and being thoughtful, not gouging. We all know that's happening. When people say hemp, they say cannabis, marijuana, then automatically you got some added high dollar layer. So again, because we've tried to look at this in a different approach and say, we get it, we want to bank you, we welcome banking you. We try to literally just try to recover some of our costs associated with it. The same with payment processing. We've got some very good pricing that if you provide to us a full banking relationship, we'll give you a bundle pricing, again, just like you would get if you're any other business that says, we get it. If you give us your full banking relationship, there's no secret sauce there. We want to then give you something back and waive fees or not have the monthly service charges and all the things that are out there. So I feel like we're very competitive. We don't have a one size fits all. It literally is written relative to the industry and relative to amounts, quantities, and how much business they're going to do with us. Just again, like any other business.
Okay.
Do you do any guaranteed lending through USDA?
We do. In fact, and we're trying very hard to get that opened up a little bit more. We've got a really good footprint with USDA and a good reputation thanks to some of our lenders in the space. Our EVP of Guaranteed Government Lending, Riddick Skinner, has a really good outlet and stronghold on USDA. We do a lot of solar lending, but there are specific rules and guidelines that says as long as you're under an approved plan under the 2018 Farm Bill, then you are open for USDA lending. Again, if you follow the other criteria, you've got to be in these rural markets. There's other things that again go along with any other business. But as long as you're in these states, then yes, we do those, and we have underwritten many of those. And we also, want to make sure everybody knows PPP is available for the hemp industry, and we've done a lot of those, but we've still got some availability to help anybody in the space that needs a PPP loan that could qualify.
Yeah, basically, if you've done farming, you're able to qualify for that. Pretty much, we do a Schedule F is one way to do it for sure. Yep. And I just saw something came out the other day, but I haven't had a chance to really look at that too much. So.
Yeah, and there's some, nuances with FSA lending as well, but we can do some of those. There's a percentage criteria for you can't be 100% just a hemp farmer, but again, we try to navigate folks through that and try to find them these alternatives. SBA is another program that we have, and so if there's equipment, then we can look to that. But we try very hard to say, what can you fit in and what makes the most sense for you, so that again, you're making sure that you get to where you are. And then we have some partnerships with some folks who offer some alternative lending if we can't be a home for a lending opportunity. But again, we're very careful with those too, because we all know it. There's folks out there that are doing some predatory things just because they hear the word hemp. So if we do, partner with somebody and offer some sort of alternative lending, we make sure that partnership is solid and that they're not going to take advantage of the industry.
And we were talking before, and I know it's not possible to do it right now, but one of the things that you said you would be taking a look at is, when it can be done, would be cannabis financing. Because there's obviously it's legal in Michigan, and there's like around 100 provisionings licensing center open right now, but there's like 300 more of those licenses in the hopper, and certainly it's a lot more expensive than anybody thinks it is. You're talking hundreds of thousands, in some cases 7 figures. So it's a pretty serious weight to get into the business, and a lot of people just don't have that money. And of course, you can't get access to that money because the traditional banks don't want to touch you, right? So I know you can't do it yet, but it's something you're taking a look at, right?
Yeah, we want to take and engage in the overall cannabis space when that time is right for us, when we can again mitigate the inherent risk and make sure we know what we're doing and whatever we can offer. So, it's again an opportunity. We see this as something again that's going to be underserved, just like the hemp market is. So it is definitely something we want to stay on the leading edge for and see if there's something we can do to help the overall cannabis community. Absolutely.
Sure.
We have a question from the website. Tony's asking, Melissa, if you won your weekly contest for the most unique topic with the hemp freebie.
Oh, Tony. Yes, I did.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. Glad we could help.
Thanks, Tony.
All
right. So what are some of the some of the issues that we can help with as far as growers and processors and all that stuff? I mean, we know we want to try to get this Safe Banking Act passed, but is there other avenues or other support that we can do to keep this in the forefront and get this moving?
Yeah, I think, again, let's make sure that the industry understands, and I tell everybody this, referrals are a bank's best friend. And the reason that is our program's going to be solid because of our customers. And so if somebody's going to refer somebody in, we're pretty much counting on that to be a solid industry and that they've been vetted. And we love forums like this. We love being part of associations so we can again say, hey, we get it, and there's some standardization there. So, I think just what you guys are doing and what the whole industry is doing is making sure everything's done right. And it's, again, a legitimate business. And we see that. So when somebody comes to us and there's a business plan, there's financials, there's pro formas, we understand that everybody's getting what we need. And, I always say this, we're not going to bank you just because you're a hemp customer, but we're not going to turn you away just because you're a hemp. So let's everybody come with what you need, and then we'll certainly help with that. But I think, again, this don't ask, don't tell out there it doesn't work. So I think we just need to get that message out to everybody. If these larger financial institutions are going to continue to exit the market, and they are doing it every day, just don't take the chance. Just find a hemp-friendly bank so that, you know, you're not trying to do your business and tomorrow you're shut down because they figured out in the background that you're doing hemp. They're on to you taking hemp out of your name. They're on to, you know, transactions running somewhere else in a personal account. So that's going to eventually catch up to the industry. And we don't want you to feel like that. You shouldn't have to play hide, you know, whatever you're doing. And again, the don't ask, don't tell. Come out and say, raise your hand that you're banking. And if we can't help you, we 100% will try to find a home for you. RiskScout through their portal, through Veraleaf, which is their company and their sort of marketplace. There's more, you know, out there than people are cognitive of. And I just want to make sure everybody knows that. But let's bank it the right way so that, again, we're all setting the standard that we want to go forward.
So I have a question from the website. Andrew Simmons, his credit union wants $1,500 to open a commercial CBD account. That would be a good example of gouging, wouldn't you say? But if
that's pretty high for a hemp and CBD business, I would say. I don't want to.
Yeah, well, we won't slander, but when I was looking into your fees, it's about $100 a month for a service charge, I do believe, because of the compliance costs. You just have to kind of bake that $1,200 a year cost into your cost of doing business, and think of the stress that you're getting rid of by not having that hanging over your head that will my account be closed tomorrow. So I don't know. I'll ask Andrew, but if that $1,500, you know, it sounds like it was a fee, you know, to open an account. So you don't have anything like that, do you? You know, that not like that.
Yeah, no, and that again, I don't want to speak disparagingly of another institution, but that seems market-wise a bit high when it comes to an onboarding fee or an application fee or whatever they deem it to be. Now, if that's going to be for the life of it, you know, I think that would be the questions that they need to ask, because honestly, credit unions are in the space more so than regular normal financial institutions. So that surprises me to hear that. But I think that Andrew should ask the question, is this a one-time upfront fee, or is this going to be for the life of it, or an annual fee, or exactly what it is, so that, again, it's the cost of doing business. And if it's a safe place for him to bank, then what is the value added for that? And what are his needs? I mean, if there's cash needs and that's a local credit union, that might be something he has to go toward. But certainly, I mean, we're happy to talk to him and do a comparative, and whatever turns out the best for him, we're happy to look at.
Now with my iHemp Harvest site, we're selling CBD products online through my marketing business. Square, I think, is charging close to 4%. You know, it's a premium. You know, typically I would use Stripe, and it's like 2.9%. Are those the kind of rates you're looking at on your merchant account?
No, we're a bit lower than that. We're, again, if you're there's a lot of components. So I want to be real cautious here to say, you know, we don't have a one size fits all. If you're on the other end of the spectrum, you're either a startup that we need to look at you a little bit differently. So there's going to be different. You won't have a strong deposit balance with us, so we don't have that to look at. But again, they're very upfront fees. They're told to you at inception. And again, it's something we try to take a look at and monitor as we go. And as your business grows, and as, you know, we see an uptick in volume, whether it's on the DDA or merchant processing, that's where we can be very fluid and say it's time for you to get into a more standardized rate, because we don't have that extra scrutiny we need to put on to you. So again, that's the beauty of having that full banking relationship, because we can offer some of that, because we're going to see the whole relationship and price it accordingly.
You're a financial partner.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's initial setup. Yeah. The 1,500's initial setup. Ouch. I'd go shopping, Andrew. Call Melissa. West Town Bank and Trust.
Melissa, a lot of people that are getting into this, of course, are new, right? They've always wanted to do a business, like anything else, new business come in and out. So where's some help that we could send them to find, you talked about a couple of things, we need a business plan and pro formas and things like that. So where's the best way to get that kind of assistance so that when we go to the bank and talk to you or other banks, that we have everything that they would need in a good form?
Again, this is not any different than what we would tell any other business. You need to get an attorney. I mean, there's lots of attorneys out there that are available that are focused on the hemp and cannabis industry. They can help navigate the pitfalls. And they're, again, not trying to price gouge or charge premiums. They just know what you need to know before you come to us. There's lots of resources that are available. There's accounting firms that we work with that are specific to the hemp industry that can help navigate. So I'm happy to provide any of those if somebody wants to reach out, and that's whether you determine to bank with us or not. But there's a lot of great resources out there. So I would encourage everybody to treat this like you would any other business. Don't come to us and tell us you're a startup that, and I ask you about a COA and your question is, what is a COA? That's going to be like, wait, what? That's going to be a red flag for us. And it doesn't mean we're not going to try to coach you and help you. At that point, we'll probably stop and say, we can't take on that startup at this moment, but here's a resource we want to get you to see if you can talk to them about forming the right business, the LLC, whatever you need to have, but we'll get resources to folks so that, again, they'll have a safe place to land. Because, again, we've got those spheres of influences at our fingertip.
You might want to provide your contact information, because then it can go in the chat box for everybody to see if they do have those questions, and they can reach out to you. Because there's a lot of newbies in this industry, and they just don't know, Yep. You don't know what you don't know, right?
Absolutely. And again, I think, too, making sure that you have resources that are available that aren't just, generic. You really need to seek out people who understand the business. They need to understand, because oftentimes we'll look at a website as part of our due diligence and find, a COA that is not correct to the product, or they don't have the FDA disclaimer or an age verification. These are like generic things that if you're going to be in this business, you better know it, or else you're going to get an FDA warning letter. And that's not, a big risk to the bank other than we're going to lose you, but it is a big risk to you. So just go ahead and do it the right way and invest in your business. Make it a legitimate business like it should be, as if you would run anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I just forwarded that on so everybody now has Melissa's contact information in the chat. So you have that in there.
Yeah, and we'll post it on the webpage where they'll see it.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, and we have, again, a lot of, great staff members. I've got an SVP of hemp banking, Ross Sloan, and I'll share his contact information. We've got a lot of good resources at our fingertips because we are, again, focused heavily on the hemp industry and very much all in approach. So happy to share with you guys and make sure we got a complete commercial account services team led by Mary Merritt and her staff. And so, again, when you start talking to them, if you're looking for a bank, they're going to be able to talk the talk with you. They understand the elements of what we're dealing with here. So, and I think that's very important to the industry.
Now, are you taking on more staff or plan to take on more staff as you get into these hemp and then maybe later on cannabis? I mean, a lot of paperwork, right?
It is, but again, I'm going to plug RiskScout again just because they're a great partner of ours. That is the beauty of using software, is that you never can take the people element out of anything, but it sure does make it where you can do a lot more and then add people for whatever you need. But the resources are there. I probably would have to have 3 additional staff if I was not utilizing RiskScout, but we are adding to our team, but more from a client services perspective, because one big thing we say, what really does set us apart, is we have all the technology. We got everything the big banks have, but then we have people. So if you need to pick up the phone and call somebody, you don't get rerouted. You don't get lost in voicemail hell, as we call it. You talk to somebody and you get a real person. And by the way, they know hemp. So if they ask you a question and you answer it, they're going to know, okay, that's all I needed to know. Let's move on to the next thing and let's get going on your bank account or merchant processing or loan or whatever else we're doing.
Yeah. Well, we're so thankful to have you in this space. We need help.
Yes, I'm sure Privacy Act, you can't probably tell us some names, but can you tell us any stories of any successful partnerships you've done with some people already?
Yeah, we're actually, hopefully we're going to have a few testimonials coming out. We asked some customers, but one is a great, we bank a pretty large lighting company, and they're a lighting company for the overall cannabis space. And I got a call from someone that was banking them, and they quickly got asked to leave when their compliance department discovered they were in fact selling to the overall cannabis space. So in our world, that's what's called an indirect MRB. So we're able to do those on a case-by-case basis. So we not only gave them a safe place to bank, and immediately we transitioned them in a matter of 10 days because they got shut down. And this is a multi-million-dollar company that, if you can imagine, got shut down. So we did all hands on deck and got them all up and running, everything they needed within a matter of 10 days, and some of it in a matter of 7. The bank account was open pretty immediately. So that's one really big one. Another one was a large seed provider that had gotten kicked out of I was about to say the bank. I can't do that. a large bank, and again, same bad story. Their website got shut down. Everything got shut down. They had shipments going out, and again, a large industry of suppliers. They were right in the middle of their highest peak season, and they got shut down. We were able to immediately get them merchant processing, a bank account. They didn't miss a beat, up, back and running. So, these are bad stories that are happening out there every day, and we're happy to give a safe place to land for these folks. And, there's some small organizations we've done the same to, and would happily do that. But it's very disruptive, when you get that check or you get that frozen account. So we've had some good success stories where I've literally called everybody and said, stop what you're doing. We've got somebody who just got kicked out and their accounts are frozen. Let's figure this out now. And we've been able to do it rapidly. So those are great success stories for sure.
Well, that's great. That's great to hear that somebody's out there champion.
Are you doing any work with the U.S. Hemp Authority and their certification program? I imagine that would play into the credibility if someone had that certification set up.
Yeah, I just started really looking into that after I heard about that. We're advocate members for the Southeast Hemp Association, and that was something that was discussed on our last meeting call. So absolutely one of the things we're going to look into, because you get that stamp, you get that approval, then for us it may mean a little bit less we have to do because we know you've already gone through something like that. But champion things like that 100%, because again, back to our original comment, standardization. If you get that seal of approval and that stamp on it, how much better we're all going to be. And that's why we try to again be members and good advocates of associations that are legitimate for the same reason. So we can create that standardization, and we can help lobby. We can help bring something to the industry that's outside of what the normal is.
Yeah, since the industry is not regulated yet properly, we have to do it ourselves, and they have a good path to do that through the Food Safe program.
Totally agree. Super
why don't you talk a little bit about the your company itself? How long you've been around? Whatever kind of numbers you want to throw out on customers, or how much you have that on the deposit receipts or anything like that. I mean, just so people get an idea of the scale of where you are.
So Westtown Bank and Trust has been around since 1922. So I appreciate you asking that, and that lets everybody know we're not going anywhere. A group of us, when it came in around 2008, recapitalized the bank, and so that's where the North Carolina sort of insert is coming from. But we have currently, I'm pretty positive we've got about 150 overall pipeline hemp customers that we're looking at. We're actively banking close to 100 of those with around 30 million in deposits, and lending, we've probably I don't even have a guess. We did around 6 million just in PPP loans, but we've got, you know, a good amount of loans up under us as well, whether that's FSA, USDA, or SBA.
Okay.
Excellent.
And you've been CEO for how long?
Well, I'm not CEO. I appreciate that promotion. I don't know when I got it, but
I
I'm
thought you
probably
were
going to have to let our
CEO.
CEO
My
know
mistake.
that.
You are now the CEO. We promoted you.
Perfect. Then I'm done for the day.
Yep.
I am the COO, and I've been around for the institution again since we recapitalized it, so around almost 13 years.
Oh, okay.
So again, not going anywhere. I'm a key shareholder of this thing. I've got everything I own invested in it. So
it does focus the mind, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes,
so,
it certainly does. It makes it a lot better. And again, that's the same with our board and everybody. You know, I love presenting at our board meetings. We have an actual ex-FDIC examiner on the board, and he gets excited and says, "Tell me about the hemp," he says. So, you know, it makes it where, again, our chairman did a commercial for us not too long ago talking about why hemp bank's here, which, by the way, we have trademarked that. So if that doesn't say we're all in, I'm not sure what else will. But we do have a top-down approach where everybody in the organization, board members, executives, tellers, everybody understands we bank hemp and they're all in. There's not many surprises by somebody, you know, grabbing a hold of check and it says hemp and freaking out. So everybody's in.
Excellent.
Yeah, we've seen that happen. Yeah. We had a tough time when we first started, even with the iHemp Michigan, and we didn't even handle any hemp or anything at that point. We were just doing the education part, and it took us a while to find a good bank to work with. So we have that. So.
Yep. It happens, unfortunately, every day. We're proud to say we're banking a good amount of associations that we're members of and bank partners. And same thing. It's amazing that they got turned down. You know, it's an association. You're not doing anything in hemp, but again, because you're part of the hemp community, then, you know, they're not willing to do it.
Yeah. Well, you know, and I can see where that compliance cost that would fall on their shoulders is something I want to avoid. So I can understand that.
Yep. Well, I appreciate everybody recognizing that. I mean, and I'm being very honest about this. The fees we do charge do not cover our compliance expense. If I did a dollar for dollar, it just doesn't. However, we understand the economies of what the value brings and the deposits and whatever else we do, just like, again, anything else that we bank. So I just, you know, it's important that everybody knows that. And it's important, you know, if you come from a bank that's banking you and they haven't asked you the questions, you know, we get a little pushback from that sometimes, and they'll say, you know, blank bank didn't ask me that, and our comeback is, and they just asked you to leave, didn't they? So, you know, don't be afraid to answer the questions, and don't go on the defensive because we're asking you. It literally is going to help you in the long run. And you're right; those other banks didn't ask the questions because they didn't know what you were doing. So don't think that that's a good thing. Let us help you by asking what you do and being very upfront about it.
Well, thank you very much for the time today. Mike, you got another question?
I was just going to say, since the Farm Act came out in 2018 and growing hemp now is legal nationwide, I'm still curious to know why the big banks are shying away from it when it's perfectly legal. I've never quite understood that. Can you explain?
I'd like to, Mike. I don't really know. I can't get a good explanation from all of them. And the odd thing is, it's sort of a hybrid. They're hanging on to some, which maybe that's because they're a bigger, you know, play for them, and they're not hanging on to other ones. But I guess my best guess and my best answer is they don't want to take the time, even though, again, it is legal. It's still considered high risk. So that means you've got to have a program. You've got to know your customer. You've got to do enhanced due diligence. So there is another layer on top of that, and they just don't want to do it. They can't seem to find the value or get out of their own way to go this little bit of an extra step for it because they don't see it as a legitimate business. They've not gone to the conferences to see this is a huge industry, and they're missing out, and it's legitimate business people that are doing this kind of thing, that it's not a here today, gone tomorrow. It's here to stay and a good commodity and something they need to. But why they're not, I have no idea, and I'm not grateful for it. I know everybody thinks that. I can't service all of the hemp community. We need other banks to get into it, but you know what? We're pushing for other community banks to get into it, because if the big banks don't want to play, well, this could be a really good thing for community banks that, by the way, we get the same scrutiny a large bank does with less resources to fight it. Yeah. So, you know, I think we just keep pushing to try to help the smaller and the community banks do it through RiskScout and other arenas.
All right. Well, we thank you very much for your time today and all the great information you shared with everybody. Again, westtownbank.com would be a good place to start at. And I'm sure they've got some friendly staff there that'll help answer your questions and walk you through the process. So
I appreciate the time so much, guys. I really do. Happy to help.
Well, we're going to be calling on you. You count on it. So we appreciate you. Blaine, before the Hempers' arrival, I'd like to share one little quick ask, if I can grab the right screen here. Mm-hmm. So what's going to help the hemp industry as much as the SAFE Act, or maybe even more, I mean, this is going to be a game changer. If we can get this HR 841 to pass, so we need to reach out to your legislatures. And if you're here in Michigan, Blaine, will you run down our list? We've got Debbie Stabenow, Dingle, who's the other?
Peters would be another one. Upton in my Southwest area.
And Fred's really powerful in Congress. He's been there a long time. So
yeah,
we all need to reach out, you know, especially if you're in there, if you're their constituent, and look for an email coming out very soon and some ways to do that through the website. But I mean, this HR 841 will make CBD a legal supplement, you know, which, you know, we've been waiting on the FDA to do something. You know, it's not happening anytime soon. So, you know, this will open up the floodgates and allow for some real investment and some real commerce to start taking place.
This only takes a few minutes to be able to complete. It's real simple. You go in, put your name, your zip code, goes to the right people. And I know they're all canned, but they ask you to do some of your own, and that's fine. You can do that. That's as well, but it's numbers, folks. It really is numbers.
Yeah, we just need to overwhelm them with...
When they get 200, well, now they start taking a look at what's going on there. So
you can go to
and the link you just showed, Dave, that's on your website. Where can people find that?
That's on hempsupporter.com. That's a U.S. Hemp Roundtable. That Roundtable. We're working closely with them. I'm going to be putting out an email with some links on our website to make that happen as well.
All right. Anything else for the good, everybody got?
Oh, sure, no. Thanks, Melissa. I'll share that Ryan's email address.
Ross, yeah.
Does he want a promotion as well? You know, maybe we can give him a title. You know, it's we're
yeah. Well, you know, my title is available, you know. So yeah, he can be he can go on up. So yeah, that's Ross Sloan's email address, our SVP of Hemp Banking. He's
Supreme Commander of the Known Universe is taken. That's my title, just so you know. So yeah, that was trademark on that.
One more, but go ahead and grab your hat, Blaine.
Okay.
But Brad Werfel just chimed in.
You're gonna like this part, Melissa. So,
well, the Michigan Senate yesterday voted to send the bill to the governor's desk that brings Michigan compliant with the USDA rules. So, you know, kudos to Senator Lowers and MDARD and all the people that have done the heavy lifting to, you know, keep us on track to have a state-run program. So, you know, there's more we need to do with our program that we'll be talking about in coming months. But you know, kudos to them for keeping us going and in line with the USDA.
Yeah, and so we talked about April. We're talking about an event there. I think there's going to be an event that we're going to have a little party to open up a new.
Oh yeah, April 10th. Yes, that'll be an invitation to members only.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we'll be you'll be seeing us out and about pretty much this year around different areas. So keep tabs on that, and it'll be fun meeting with everybody throughout the summer in small groups. at least we can start doing that again. So we look forward to that. So, all right.
And now it's time. Get that drum going here. Get the
Okay.
drum roll.
So again, I hope everybody got their brackets picked because that's important to make sure that gets done in time. And we'll give you the little recipe we're going to do today.
Oh, I love it.
You like that?
Our group calls ourselves the Hempsters, but the Hemperor is much better. I like it.
Oh, and I like the recipe too. If it's starting with highway vodka.
Well, I'm just going to make a thought. I went on the Highway Vodka site and I was going to make some, because of all the celebrations going to be going on the next few weeks. I just wanted to get a plug here. Dave, when you're out in Colorado, maybe you can find some places that might have this.
I think that's a case that you need to explore.
How come there's more vodka in your bottle than mine?
Well, because I've been judiciously saving mine for this special occasion here, So, yeah. So we'll be testing that tonight. We had a little bit. We'll test more tonight. So, and all their drinks, their great drink recipes are on their site, highwayvodka.com.
Well, what you need to do, Dave, instead of flying, is drive out so you can load your trunk with that vodka and bring it back. That's what I'm thinking.
You need to take an empty suitcase. If you went Southwest, 2 bags fly free. So
I couldn't pay for the gas for the price of the airline ticket. Was so cheap.
Oh, I know. The airlines are really hurting now.
I just can't rent a car. It's like I'm not.
We can't we can't get this here in Michigan yet. We've been working on it, but we can't buy it here in Michigan. So we have an undisclosed source to help us with that. So, anyways, today we're gonna do this is kind of since we're moving from winter into spring here. This is the last kind of winter recipe, but this is a winter squash spread.
Ooh.
This is the best cold weather spread imaginable. Love it on muffins, cornbread, or simply on morning toast. So give it a try. So it's 2 cups of diced winter squash, peeled and seeded. Good choices are the acorn, butternut for that. Extra, they say virgin olive oil, but we know what we replace that with, don't we?
We do.
Replace that
down on the farm, I think, sells hemp oil too.
Yep, down on the farm.
Yeah, I've heard that. So
we got to get some hemp seed oil in there.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have barley malt, sea salt, a generous pinch of ground cinnamon, a scant pinch of grated nutmeg, and 1/4 cup shelled hemp seeds. You preheat the oven to 350. You lightly oil a pan, baking dish. Place the squash cubes in a mixing bowl and drizzle generously with the oil and barley malt. Season lightly with the salt and cinnamon and nutmeg. Toss gently to coat. Spread the seasoned squash cubes and prepare a baking dish and cover tightly with foil. Bake for 45 to 60 minutes or until the squash is quite soft. Remove from the oven and let it cool completely. And there you go. And then you put it in a processor if you want to, mix it up a little bit. Keep it in the refrigerator and spread it onto all of your other crackers and muffins and morning toast.
And just before you take your first bite, you take a shot of the highway vodka, and that'll make your morning just right.
It'll get you started. That's it will. Yes, it will. Great. Well, thanks everybody for the show this week. Again, we're going to try with all the technology that we have for Dave to be able to give us some real good stuff from NOCO. I'm looking forward to that. I'm so jealous that he's going and I'm not, but.
Well, 2 bags, if you can fit in a bag, he can get you on Southwest Airlines. So.
It's going to have to be a pretty big bag for me, Mike. And I'm going to have a heavy sticker on it, okay? I'm going to have to have it. Yeah, that's what it's going to be. So, all right, everybody. Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
and we'll see y'all next week.
Thank you guys a lot. Enjoyed it.
Good luck,
Thanks.
Dave.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
All right.